Arkansas beat Cincinnati 31-24. And we got to unpack this a little bit because Arkansas and Cincinnati did absolutely gladiator-style, knockdown, drag-out, fight-to-the-death kind of football game in Fayetteville. And there's a lot to take away from this. Arkansas ran the ball really effectively, over 200 yards on the ground. KJ Jefferson looked like he was cramping up a little bit, found a way to push through. But credit Cincinnati because everybody in the country kind of dismissed them. Kind of said, okay, well, you lost a lot of NFL talent. What are you going to do for an encore? Got to go on the road to play an SEC team? Good luck. Arkansas by 100. As long as Luke Fickell's the guy at Cincinnati, that's not going to be the case for them in any game that they walk into. Now, you could tell that they were still sort of getting their bearings about them, was Cincinnati, but there was a lot to be encouraged about from both teams. There's no moral victories in this sport. I want to make that clear, but there's a lot to be excited about for both teams. We'll start with Cincinnati. They're not taking a step back in the AAC. In the American Athletic Conference, they are not taking any steps back. I would 100% expect them to at least play for that title. Will they win it? We'll see. I think UCF's pretty good too. But for Cincinnati to go on the road after that playoff hangover with a new set of faces, a new quarterback in Ben Bryant to throw for over 300 yards the way they did against a really good Arkansas team, a tough Arkansas team in those conditions, you got to feel encouraged. You got to feel like, okay, we have something to build off of from this. We're not a fluke. We're not a flash in the pan. We're a good football team, and we proved it to the rest of the country. Because there were multiple occasions where Cincinnati could have rolled over and said, all right, that's it for us. Hey, we put on a good showing. You saw it. Everybody saw it. We tried our best. Okay. All right, we're done. Was 21-7 at one point in favor of Arkansas. Was 31-17 at one point in favor of Arkansas. And Cincinnati refused to go quietly into that good night. Now, for Arkansas, you can flip the page and say the exact same thing. For them to win a gritty game like that, a resilient game like that, where people are cramping up, you're banged up in the secondary, you don't have your best day in the secondary, front seven looks good, but you don't necessarily have your best day defensively, and to win a game like that, to me, this just says for Arkansas, the formula still works. What we do here, what we've been doing here, it's still intact. Yes, there's new faces on the outside. Yes, we got some new people in this building. But what we do here, the bread and butter, is still effective. Like we talked about, had to continue to score points and stave off a pesky Cincinnati team, a resilient Cincinnati team. And for them to be able to push through that and continue to put up points, continue to play their game, have no panic, have a cool hand, that told me a lot about this program and the maturity of this program. Because we were high in Arkansas. We're still high in Arkansas, obviously. Woo pig. But for Sam Pittman to be able to get a win like this against a playoff team in Cincinnati a year ago, that's a very, very big deal. The most telling piece of this to me was at the end of the game. Arkansas gets the football. I think there's about a little under 6 minutes left to go, and they don't give it back. They did not give the football back. They ran the clock out for 6 minutes. That is attitude, that is preparation, and that is composure. All three of those things that Arkansas put on display in full effect with KJ Jefferson leading the charge there. Very impressive by Arkansas. Now, we still think they're a 9-10 win football team, but winning a game like this should tell you a lot about them going forward. So ultimately, the toughness and the experience of Arkansas is, I think, what played out. And we said it before in our preview. I keep going back to that. Our previews. In our preview for Arkansas-Cincinnati, we just said, hey, I think the physicality of Arkansas and we think the human beings and the size of those human beings for Arkansas is going to eventually be enough to win this game. Now, Trey Knox had a phenomenal game. Had a lot of those spark plays that you need to replace from a Treylon Burks. They looked a little bit different in nature. They weren't so much the over-the-top deep pass, but he still replaced some production that you're going to need to get from somewhere on this offense for them to be successful. So all that's to say, Arkansas found a way to get it done in week one. Sam Pittman said there's a lot to clean up. There's a lot to figure out, but we'd much rather figure it out with a win rather than a loss. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.